What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wingers and Defenders. I know it's been a while. We've had some issues with storm in our area. Joe and Jake did not have power for more than a few days. Joe finally got Wi-Fi back today, so now we can begin making videos for you guys. So we'll be making more content consistently, hopefully 3 to 4 videos a week. I expect that's something we can do once we have everything going together. But today we are talking about the Champions League quarterfinals. Now, there were 4 games. 4 days, 1 game per. A lot of interesting games, which we will dive into quickly. But it's very exciting to have these competitive games, and that means so much for some of these teams. So we'll just start from back to front.
Okay. Competitive.
All right. Well, we'll start from back to front since 1 game just ended a few hours ago, and we will start with Manchester City and Lyon. Now, going into this game, we expected City to dominate, and that's not what happened. We saw a lot of errors, individual errors from some guys, aka Raheem Sterling. Ederson had his own howlers. But Jake, how did you feel about this game?
Well, not being able to watch this game, I could only catch highlights and whatever Twitter said. What I saw was Pep Guardiola howler. A Raheem Sterling stinker, Ederson disaster class, and just City having another. This is something that we've spoken about in the show before. Joe has said that Pep Guardiola is a fraud. With the amount of money that he has spent, over $1 billion in the last 4 seasons, I think. $1 billion, no Champions League title, cannot even reach the semifinal of the Champions League. It's embarrassing. It's not really much to say other than, De Bruyne is their best player. If he wants to win a Champions League, he needs to get out of there because they're not going to win a Champions League anytime soon. Because how much more – yeah, they add center backs. They'll be definitely a top 3-4 team in Europe. But, I mean, with Pep at the helm, are they going to win a Champions League? I don't know. I think they have the team to win it. I don't know if they have the manager to.
That's nice to see people. Nice to see people on my side.
Yeah.
Nice to see people.
You're welcome.
Finally seeing the Pep Guardiola fraudiola, the bandwagon here, because that meant a fraud. Do you guys remember when I once said that I'd rather have Son over Sterling? You guys know when I said that a few weeks ago?
I remember it, but it sounds believable.
Sounds like something from a Spurs perspective.
And Son would have finished that chance. Son would have finished that chance today. I don't know what he did. Now we know why Harry Kane didn't square it in the World Cup. It's just a bunch of choke artists there. They're the biggest bottlers in Europe, possibly. They're up there. They got to be one of the biggest bottlers in Europe. How do you bottle every chance that you get to win something in Europe? It's tragic. It's unfortunate. And part of me wonders at this point is, can another manager even fix it up? Actually, yes, I know they can, because what does Pep do when he gets into a big game? He likes to change his tactics around for some reason. He doesn't like to play his normal formation and stuff. He decides to overthink it and say, I'm going to come out and trick these guys in Lyon to take advantage of it. It's poor from him. I expect nothing less. So, I mean, expecting Pep to show up in a big game is like expecting it to rain spaghetti and meatballs. It's not going to happen.
Okay, yeah. I agree, but let's just go through the goals. So the opener was from Cornet, if I'm pronouncing the name right, but it was an over-the-top through ball, which I believe Kyle Walker kept I forget the striker's name. I think it's Toko Nkambi. Then, for some reason, Eric Garcia was able to get back, and then Kyle Walker didn't mark his man, and Cornet had a fantastic finish with his left foot, swung it in there. But Ederson was out of his line again, and I've said it on multiple occasions when we've done previews with Arsenal and City in the FA Cup. We've always picked Leno over him, and I'm kind of seeing, and I'm sure fans of this show that we're doing probably are starting to agree with us if they haven't said it already, because he's just way off his line, super aggressive, and that's the way they play. Sure, that works at times, but then there's times where he's just way out of his line, out of the box, doing all these crazy things, and we're like, what is he doing? And then they ended up getting the equalizer. Kevin De Bruyne made a fantastic run from deep, and that's when Sterling had a good moment in the game, made a great pass, and Kevin De Bruyne finished it like he has, which we've said on this show. He's the best midfielder in the world, and I think that's clear. yeah, that's something you can definitely put in the argument with like likes of Lewandowski, but he's fantastic. And then we just saw errors again from them. The second goal for Lyon was fantastic. It was a ball that there was one guy that I think it was Toko Kambi again, who was offsides and let it go, and Moussa Dembele just ran on it, and the defense just played a high line. Man City likes to play aggressive, and it came back to bite them again today. And then Ederson with another howler to end the game. Moussa Dembele just pounced on a ball that he should have caught. Aouar had a very easy shot, should have been saved. And, yep, it was just a game that City just didn't do enough to win, and they were not good enough. Lyon deserved a lot of credit to me. I think your team that was super compacted against Juve, but I think all three of us would agree. We didn't think that Lyon could come up with another compact defensive performance and hit on a counterattack against a Man City team that was better than Juve probably has been all season, attacking-wise, even though they've had their inconsistencies. But, Joe, what did you see went wrong for City today, besides Pep, of course?
Well, I think that the football gods are punishing City for the financial fair play ruling and for the oil money that they've gotten because they just can't win. I mean, I think, again, it just I just think it was tactics mostly. I mean, they got down – they had good chances. And it wasn't like they other than the Sterling one, it wasn't like they weren't terrible clinically. Like, yeah, Sterling obviously should have put that in. I could have put that in, and I suck at football. And it's just like, other than that, even if you want to give them that goal, they still lose that game. They still lose that game. I don't know what they were doing back there. I don't know why they have Ederson. I don't know what the tactics are where Ederson has to play up at the halfway line trying to kick balls around. He got beat by Eric Lamela. He got beat by I forgot who on Southampton. He got beat today. It's like, how many times does this have to happen until Pep says we need a different goal? Either stop playing like this or do something else. I believe he got the Golden Gloves for keeping the most clean sheets, but I don't think I have him. He's not in my. I don't know if he's in my top 5. I don't think I had him in my top 5 goalies. I don't think he's the best shot stopper out there. They just have a dominant midfield where they can control possession all the game, and against weaker teams they can get clean sheets. He's really not that good of a goalie. He's very overrated, and I think that's another place where they might need to have a change because with the way they're playing, maybe they need to switch up their tactics that they have a more shot stopping type goalie. I don't know, but I think a lot of this blame falls on Ederson as well.
Jake?
Yeah, I'm looking at it without looking at Pep and all the banter getting serious a little bit. City has 72% possession this game. Kind of controlled 18 shots, 7 on target compared to Lyon's 7, about 6 on target. They passed it nearly 650 times. They were really controlling the game. They didn't take their chances, obviously, with Raheem Sterling. And then defensive errors. How many years is City going to go just without having a competent center back partnership? Because how many years is it going to happen where they're going to get to a semifinal of any competition where they need to win games and the defense is going to let them down again? This time, I wouldn't even say it's really the defense. I think it's more Ederson today, making 2 pretty big mistakes. The first goal, like you said, Christian, over the top through ball. Ederson is in no man's land. Any keeper that is a professional knows if you're running out trying to get a ball and your defense looks like they have it under control, you back up. You don't just stay in no man's land. For 3-4 seconds, he stood still and just watched the ball. Then before he knew it was too late. The ball was in the back of the net. Those errors aren't going to get you in the Champions League final. It's not going to give you any kind of trophy that's competent. The midfield controlled the game, it seemed like. The attack just wasn't clinical enough. The defense wasn't terrible. It was Ederson, really. De Bruyne was pulling strings. But, when you are not taking your chances and you make defensive errors with your goalkeeping and the other team scores more than you do, is more clinical than you are, they will win the game. This is just a textbook proof that if you don't play well enough, you're not going to win the game. I don't care how much possession you have. They could have had 90% possession today. They could have had 30 shots. They could have had 90% possession. They could have, passed it 1,000 times. They could still lose this game because of poor goalkeeping and poor finishing. That's really just what it comes down to. And I think that doesn't really come down to tactics that much. Pep did change up his tactics this game. But, in reality, whatever he chose this game, he should have been winning regardless. Whatever tactics you put out, Pep, you should be winning the game. I don't really know what else to really say. It shouldn't be a loss. But yeah, it's embarrassing. And it's unfortunate, really. But I mean, I'm not a City fan, so I don't really care that much. I enjoy the banter. I enjoy Twitter, and I like to see people get exposed for things that they do. I think Pep is a fraud, like I said. Ederson, I put him in my top 5. I'm trying to regret it a lot. I don't think he is top 5. I think I regret putting him. I think I put him 4th, I think, or 3rd maybe. I think I'm really starting to like, because what this guy is doing, again, the ink from the neck tats, it's creeping upwards. It's clouding his mind, his vision. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea.
Ederson over Lurie. Ederson over Lurie.
Yeah.
Martinez is better than him. Martinez is better than Ederson.
Martinez isn't standing in no man's land for 5 seconds watching the ball off his 30 feet off his line, 30 yards off his line. So.
Interesting. Speaking of goalies, when I found out the other day, Nick Pope, he actually has a terrible save percentage. He's not the best save. What happens is because Burnley plays that 4-4-2 low block, he actually doesn't take as many shots, and a lot of shots get blocked. When there's like, he has like a pretty poor save. I think it was in the 60s or something like that. And that's what I'm thinking. Would he perform very well if, say, he was at a bigger team that plays different tactically? Like, say he's at a Southampton, for example, right? Who don't play that, who don't play a 4-4-2, very low block. Do you guys think he'd play as well, or do you think he kind of like play, or do you think he'd be just mediocre? Do you think he'd just be a very mediocre? Because a lot of people have. Yeah, I remember. I think Christian had him in his top 5. I had him like at 6, right outside of my top 5. But I'm starting to just rethink that.
I mean, we'll quickly wrap this up because we got to move on to the other 3 games. But I saw him play against Liverpool in the restart, and everything he got shot at him was saved. I think we scored one goal. The opener was with Robertson with a header. That was when we were kind of shaky. We lost to Arsenal, I believe, the following game. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't even know his shave percentage was pretty low. But if that's correct, then that's kind of concerning. But Burnley do play a low block. They don't really go and score goals. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Jake, I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think him playing in a different type of team will show how good he is. You can look pretty good as a Burnley goalkeeper when you have 8 defenders in front of you all the time. But I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, if you see him play for like a Southampton or like even like a Chelsea, replace Kepa, faces more shots, a team that wants to get forward a lot more, we'll see him face more shots. We'll see how good he really is. I think he'll take the next step to a bigger club soon, I think, and we'll see how good he really is. I think he's kind of overrated because he's an English keeper, and he's going to be a guy that people are going to be really good because he's English, but you don't really know until he gets put a lot of pressure on him. So we'll see.
Yeah, just to quickly wrap up the Lyon City game, I think we do need to give a lot of credit to Lyon. They've came into this competition, didn't expect them to beat Juve on the road. They did that. They beat City, which is a very, very good win for them. A team that finished 7th in League, basically didn't play for 3 months, then played well in a cup against PSG, lost. But they have no Champions League football, no Europa League football next season. If they shock the world, they're coming here to play. So you got to give them credit, even though City had a howler today. But we'll move on to another game with another team that had maybe even a worse performance, and probably yes. Barcelona, 8-2. Come on, man. That's unacceptable. We saw Coutinho come on, who is a Barcelona player, and score 2 goals and have an assist in about 10 minutes in the end of the game.
Peak. I love that. That was peak shithousery, man. Peak. Bayern knew what they were doing with that. Bayern knew exactly what they were doing with that.
So we'll let you go, Joe, first. I have no idea what you're going to say. What are your thoughts on what happened yesterday?
What are my thoughts? Well, at least maybe we won't get any more 7-2 jokes because I was sick of those. But
I was going to make one, but
it's 8-2 jokes now, right?
All right.
But I can't believe it because it was crazy because it was 4-1 at halftime. And I started watching it at halftime. I missed the first half of the game just because some stuff was going on. Come back. Luis Suarez makes an amazing play. I know he's been shocking throughout the whole season, but he had a great play to score a goal. 4-2, it's Barcelona. They have Messi. You can't really count them out of games when it's 4-2. You never know what could happen. They have when you have Messi, you never know what could happen. But then Bayern just decides we're gonna go crazy. I mean, that Alphonso Davies play, where I think it was
Tomato.
Tomato, yeah. He put him in a blender. I couldn't believe it. That was so nasty. I'm like, this guy is the best right back in the world, left back in the world. He's insane. They're so good. They're just so good. It's shocking how good they are. Like, I don't see. There's no team in their stratosphere. They're a whole other stratosphere. It's I was telling Christian earlier, I could see them going on a Real Madrid run where they would just win 3 or 4 straight UCLs. Like, they got Sane coming. Imagine a left side of Sane and Davies. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How do you stop that? That's literally it's OP. And then they still got Lewandowski, who's gonna be elite for another 4 to 5 years. It's crazy, and I feel bad for every team in the Bundesliga, man.
Jake?
Yeah, I think Bayern really showed what a competent elite team looks like in 2020. Barcelona could kind of, like, with the big name, the big lights, everyone wants to play for Barcelona, Messi. They're the team that everyone's going to look to being like, casual fans. Who do you like? Oh, Barcelona, because they're the biggest club in the world, right? Bayern showed that, no, they're the team this year. They're not the team that is going to get rolled over easily. They're going to be the dominant team. And now I thought going to this game, Bayern was going to win. But I was thinking 3-1, 3-2. I didn't think 8-2. And I didn't see the game either. I didn't see any of the game. I looked at the group chat, and it was 8-2. And I was so confused. I thought it was fake. I couldn't believe it. But, I mean, Barca has had a shocking season, terrible season, really. Their club is in turmoil. I wouldn't expect them to lose this badly. Bayern, yeah, showed that they're in a whole different class than everyone else. I think the only teams touching them as far as talent goes is PSG and probably Manchester City. But obviously Manchester City fell short, as we've spoken about already. And, PSG, a team that, I think could go to the final. We could see a battle of heavyweights, Bayern versus PSG in the final. Or we could see underdogs, Leipzig versus Lyon, which would be an interesting final for sure. But, I mean, yeah, Bayern all over the pitch. I think they're the best team in Europe, position for position. In Europe, I think. In the world. I'm going to say in the world. I think goalkeeper all the way up to striker, they have the best overall team. And then
Don't sleep on New York Red Bull, though.
New York Red Bull?
Yeah, don't sleep on them.
New York Red Bull, I definitely can't sleep on them because they're actually a quality team. Even without Werner, they're actually pretty quality. But, yeah, I mean, and then think about Sonic not even playing yet off the bench. This is a scary team. Coutinho coming off the bench, who I think is a little inconsistent. I don't really want him at Arsenal. But, I mean, him coming off the bench, that's just how quality your team is. Yeah, just embarrassing for Barcelona. I think Jamie Carragher said it yesterday. This is an end of an era for Barcelona. I think players are gone. Piqué even tweeted, I think he said something about, like, if this is the time for us to end, I'll be the first player to throw my hand up and say I'll leave so that we need new blood to come into Barcelona. Piqué, I could see leaving. Suarez, I could see leaving. Messi, the biggest player probably ever. We could see him go too. That's how crazy this is. They sacked their manager like 10 minutes after the game. I don't really know what else to say. This is a whole different look. In my lifetime, I've never seen Barcelona this low, and I'm interested to see where they go from here. Completely rebuild from the ground up. This will be interesting. But, yeah, this was a shocking result. Good luck to Bayern. I think they're going to win the whole thing personally. I think they have the best team built for it. And I think if they lose, it's underwhelming for them. It's a poor season for them if they don't win.
No, I have an analogy here for Barcelona. And it might seem a little odd, but they're a little bit like the Pittsburgh Pirates from 2016 to 2019. Here's why. In that time period, the Pirates thought they were going to be able to compete for the playoffs and stuff. They thought they would be able to compete when it was obvious that their team was kind of washed. They were old, that they needed to get rid of some players. But no matter what they did, even making small changes like Garrett Cole and Andrew Cutchin, they still believed we're going to compete for the playoffs. We're still a team that can compete for the playoffs. But in reality, we all knew they weren't. Barcelona was in the same position. For past few years, people have been saying Barcelona can compete for the Champions League, but especially this season in particular. everyone could tell that Barcelona was dead. Even last year, when they went to, it looked like they should have went to the Champions League final and played us, but they bottled it because they're another big bottlers on the European stage. We got to start talking about that soon too. But they still didn't look as great past in their MSN days, in their Iniesta days. They were kind of treading water, and then Bayern just came in here and did what the Pirates did last year when they went like 2-21 or something like that in the past in like a whole month or so. When they didn't win a game, they won like 3 games in a whole month or something like that. And that's basically what this was for Barcelona, and that's the reason why the Pirates got new general manager in there, new coaching staff and everything. That's going to, in this game, is equivalent to that as if they sacked their manager. They're going to get a lot of all these players out and start to rebuild. So that's my analogy.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that we saw 2 managers lose games when they were favored in the Champions League, and within 24 hours, both were sacked. And Setien was literally, like Jake just said, sacked within probably half an hour of the game. Like, it was the most embarrassing performance I've seen out of Barcelona in my lifetime. You're on the biggest stage with the world watching, and you lose 8-2. Yes, Bayern are miles ahead of any team in the world. And they've shown it this season. Hansi Flick has done a fantastic job ever since he came in. Niko Kovac couldn't get – with a very similar team from last season, obviously Alphonso Davies is turning into what he's done this season. There's some other guys. They had Arjen Robben and Frank Ribéry last season. So it's pretty much the same team, and they looked flat against Liverpool last season, dropping out of the round of 16. And now we have a team that's pretty much, like Joe just mentioned, probably on pace to be what Real Madrid were a couple of years, where they win 3 Champions League in a row. That's something that looks realistic in all honesty, and maybe even likely, to be honest. But I can't tell you what's going to happen at Barcelona, who they're going to bring in. Managerial-wise, they have to bring in a big guy. They've talked about Pochettino. I saw something today about Pochettino possibly. I know there's – if there's something like that, along the lines of they have to get a manager that knows what he's doing. Setien didn't know what he was doing. Valverde doesn't know what he's doing. They've been really shambolic since they ever had Guardiola, which obviously Guardiola did things at there, hasn't done it at City. But that's the last time they've been pretty consistent with the MSN days and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of players they're going to have to get rid of. You have Piqué, who mentioned it himself. Suarez looks flat, even though he had a fantastic goal that got them somewhat back in the game. Semedo was just destroyed by everybody on that left side. The list goes on. It's a team that's in rebuild. It needs to be in rebuild. They aren't in rebuild. They believed they could do something this year. They just weren't. They're not the same team. And Real Madrid, we don't know either. Real Madrid looked flat against Man City. Hazard doesn't look his best. So that league's really up for grabs, to be quite honest. We got to see which team really can reshift their squad, I guess. Obviously, sure. Madrid will be the first probably, but they still do. Both teams do need to really restock. And we'll move on. We'll get on to the third team in that league that played in the Champions League, and they also got to do some things a little bit differently. But I can't believe what I saw yesterday. I was literally I'm getting ready to go for college next week, go downstairs for 10 minutes, and next thing you know, it's changed from 6-2 to 8-2. And I'm like, this is crazy. It was honestly the most dominant performance I've seen against any big team in my lifetime. I can't believe the amount of things Bayern were doing. They just looked like they were walking over a team that plays in the 4th division of England. And honestly, looked that bad for Barcelona. So I don't even know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens in the transfer market for them. They already let a 23-year-old go for Pjanic, which doesn't make sense any to me. But we'll move on to the game that happened on – I forget what day that was. But it was the second game that happened in the quarterfinal, and that was RB Leipzig and Atletico Madrid. Now, I personally expected Atletico Madrid to win the game. I didn't think RB Leipzig could do much without Timo Werner because they looked pretty flat they actually had not played the entire season without him. He played in every other game for the Champions League for them, so you didn't expect them to do much. But, Joe, what on earth did you feel about that?
A little concerning as a Spurs fan. Simeone is a Mourinho prodigy, and if they're losing to teams like Leipzig, a little concerning to me. They shouldn't be losing that. That's some bullcrap. Not right. But I thought that Madrid would no Atletico would win this game. It just didn't make sense. Leipzig, who are Leipzig? They're a brand new team. They had Timo Werner and then he's gone. Who was attacking for them? And then they just bottle it. A team when you're playing a team that doesn't have good attackers, when you're playing a 4-4-2, break them down, you're not going to be able to. How do you let them break you down? Like what? It just doesn't make sense. Jacob, I'll let you go because I can't fathom it. I can't fathom it.
I can. You said it first. He's a Jose Mourinho protege. That's already a bad sign. That just means,
Is it though? Is it though? He's a serial winner.
Don't
yeah.
don't
Okay.
argue this.
No. We'll do this. We'll do this. Right? Yes. Jose's a serial winner. But what is Simeone? He's a serial finalist, but not a winner. When you play boring football year after year after year after year, defensive football year after year after year after year, what does that get you? Finals. You'll get to finals. You won't win them. You'll lose to Ramos getting headers in your box 2 years in a row. You'll lose La Liga every year. I don't even mind Simeone that much, but I mean, this game was kind of nothing game. This is probably one of the most boring fixtures going into all the fixture lists that we saw for the quarterfinals. I thought that Leipzig could probably win this game because I wasn't thinking Atletico was going to do anything on the attack. They don't really do much on the attack anyways. The only goal they scored is Joao Felix penalty. That's it. That's the only offense they generated all game. I mean, they had chances, obviously, but in reality, this is a game who was going to be better defensively. And surprisingly, the Jose Mourinho prodigy was worse defensively. I don't really understand the hype around him. I mean, I get Simeone is I think he's one of the highest paid managers in Europe.
Yeah, he's the highest.
Which is interesting for me because if that guy's highest paid, I mean, he's accomplishing little to nothing. I mean, granted, he's in a league with Barcelona and Real Madrid, and in Champions League where he's going to be like a 7th or 8th best team probably. It's rough, but you're going to pay him that much money? That's kind of crazy. I don't know. This was a game where, I mean, I'm happy the American got the winning goal. You know, let's big up the U.S. men's national team. That's big for us. It's big for U.S. football. But, I mean, Atletico isn't a team where I'm expecting them to go crazy in the Champions League or La Liga for that matter. I don't really have much to say about it other than Leipzig, congrats to them. If we see them in the Champions League final, that would be huge. I think they're playing PSG, though, which is a big problem. But, I mean, who knows? We just saw Bayern beat Barcelona 8-2. I think anything could happen at this point. So, Leipzig, congrats to them. Atletico, back to the drawing board. I don't know what they're going to do. Like, honestly, I don't know their team that well, but they need to change their football, change something. I don't know if Simeone is going to leave because how much money they're paying him and he won't want to leave. They just need to figure something out. Change tactics because the brand of football isn't winning anything.
Yeah, I'll quickly get through this since we are down to about less than 10 minutes on this call. But Tyler Adams, fantastic. Love to see that we got Americans scoring. That's remarkable for us. He was playing as it was like a right wing back. That's how Nagelsmann set them up yesterday. I think he came on and he would come in as more of a right wing back when they were in possession, and then would kind of sit in as a center mid when they were in the defensive structure. But man, I think we got to talk about Atletico Madrid. I think, to be honest, their roster construction isn't horrible. You have a João Felix player, which even though he hasn't done a lot, that's down to the team that he plays for. I think he's whatever he was paid for, 100+ million euros. Yeah. I think he's a fantastic player. We haven't seen it this year, but he brought life when they brought him on, and that's why he scored. He drew the penalty and then scored the penalty. They're a very defensively structured team, and this isn't the best Atletico defensive team we've seen. We have a team that's starting Jimenez, a Uruguayan center back, and I believe it's Savic. Don't know what country he's from, but it's not the same team. We had Diego Godin. Yeah, it's one of those countries in that area of Europe. But Godin was part of their best team. Felipe Luis on the left. Griezmann, when he was with them, was playing pretty well. But we've seen this team over and over again just stay compact and just hit on the counter. And to me, I mean, obviously as a Liverpool fan, I was disappointed playing them. But it's almost crazy that they got, I think it was 5 goals over 2 legs against us. But
Yeah, that's
I don't know what they're gonna do. I think, like you just mentioned, is Simeone gonna leave with the money he's gotten? Probably not. So this team's gonna stay in a flux. They're just gonna be in the same situation. It's gonna be troubling, and they're gonna stay mediocre and play the same football, which is just disappointing because they have a lot of decent players in the team. Thomas Partey's probably gonna leave, which that's probably why he didn't start. Which he's probably gonna go to Arsenal. That's probably a good move at 29 years old, even though, but that's something for another day. But all I got to say is I think Leipzig possibly can go and beat PSG. PSG didn't look the greatest against Atalanta. And then you had Neymar come up with some moments of brilliance, and that's how they got them through. Because up until the 80th minute, Atalanta were going to the quarterfinal. So I'm excited, or semifinal, excuse me. Not the quarterfinal, but I'm excited to watch Leipzig play PSG. I think that's really interesting to see what Nagelsmann can go and do against Thomas Tuchel. And we'd expect Kylian Mbappe to play. He came on, was injured. But I think it's going to be interesting to see. But we'll move on to our last game. That was Atalanta PSG. And both teams were missing some guys. You saw Marco Verratti wasn't available. Angel Di Maria was not available. Kylian Mbappe, like I just mentioned, came on but was injured from a nasty injury he had in one of the cups a couple weeks back against Saint Etienne, I think it was. But you're talking about a game that we expected to be goals and goals galore. Atalanta scored over 100 goals in the Serie A and didn't really get that in this game. But they were missing Ilicic, who is a fantastic striker. Slovenian had 5 goals in the round of 16 against Valencia. But Joe, what did you think of that game?
I was upset. I wanted Atalanta to win. I don't mind PSG's some oil frauds as well. So I like to see these natural teams go. And, also an Italian team, so I have a little bit of bias towards that. I also like that football, bunch of counterattacking football, exactly what I want Spurs to be under Jose Mourinho. Sit back, counterattack, score loads of goals with strikers like a Harry Kane-esque. But unfortunately, it didn't go their way. You can't. When Mbappe came on, he changed the entire game. Christian, we were watching this game together. It was a hectic final 10 minutes, to say the least. But for my Atalanta fans who are watching this, keep your head up. You guys have a big future. You have a good future. You guys can get there next year. You're a great coaching staff, and I wish you guys the best, and I hope you guys come back strong.
Jake?
That was nice. Like
that was sweet.
All of Atalanta fans, not a Napoli fan, but
I am a Napoli fan, but I also have
Serie A.
They're not rivals, so
yeah. I thought PSG was interesting. Again, missing Verratti, Di Maria, Mbappe for the first half. I thought Atalanta was going through, but I don't want to sugarcoat this like, oh, Atlanta got robbed, because people were saying Atalanta got robbed. PSG, it was a heist, whatever. Neymar missed like 3 huge chances that he always makes. If he scores 2 of those, they're leading. And also, the entire first half, no Mbappe, who is arguably the most electrifying player in the world. As soon as he comes onto the pitch, he's gone. And you saw that when they played. If Mbappe played the entire game, they had Neymar, they had either Verratti or Di Maria in the side, this probably wouldn't be that much of a contest. As good as Atalanta has been this season, PSG's too dominant to lose that game. Unless, of course, Pep Guardiola is their manager, but we're not going to get into that. I think PSG just is a team that has too much quality to fail as well. That's why I could see a Bayern-PSG final. 2 of the best sides in Europe that have proven themselves all season to be the best teams. Going head-to-head would be probably the final you would think of, but, it could be anything could happen, like I said, and you guys have said before. PSG was just too quality. I think Neymar, if he doesn't miss those chances, I think he got man of the match with his missed chances, and he gave his man of the match to Choupo-Moting, who is probably the most irrelevant striker in the world, who went from Stoke City to PSG, the weirdest move I've ever seen in my entire life. But we'll live with it. He gave his man of the match. Neymar gave his man of the match to Choupo-Moting, winning goal. Congrats to him. I mean, this PSG team is just really good, really quality. I don't really know how much else to say about them. I mean, Atalanta, fantastic run. I mean, I saw Ilicic score 4 goals against Valencia in Valencia. I've seen him just do crazy things. I've seen Atalanta's team play really, really well under pressure. This is a quality team that I think will do well in the Serie A. next season and for years to come possibly. But at the same time, that team was it was just really rough because Mbappe is still waiting to come onto the pitch. And they don't have Di Maria. And when you're right there and you're like 20 minutes away from going to a semifinal of the Champions League, which you weren't even supposed to be in the Champions League, that's hard to understand that it is. But I mean, that just shows how good PSG is, how quality they are, the team that they have.
Go Neymar.
Yeah,
Shout out
it's
to Mark.
yeah, no, I think Neymar proved a lot of his doubters. Yes, he missed. There was a really big sitter at the beginning of the game. Got in on goal, was 1-on-1, and put it wide. But I think that was a big stepping stone for him because we haven't seen him advance in the Champions League ever since he left Barcelona. I don't think I don't know what the deepest PSG has gotten with Neymar. I don't even know if they've gotten out of the round of 16.
This might be the deepest.
Yeah, because they lost to Man
certainly,
U
I don't
last year.
think.
Yeah.
Yes, Man U. There was Real Madrid, I think, the year before. But I think that was big for him. I think we saw how effective he was, and even he was kind of effective when Mbappe wasn't on the field, wasn't clinical, but he was creating
Super
problems
effective.
for Atalanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think another point which needs to be said is that when Atalanta were up 1-0, they decided it was great to take off a lot of their attacking players because they were going to sit deep and try to just hold on for dear life. And Papu Gomez, their captain, was taken off. There were some other attackers that were taken off. Zapata. Obviously, we just mentioned Ilicic wasn't available, which was a big problem for them. And that showed because they're a very attacking side, and he's one of the reasons why. And then Muriel missed a big sitter at the end. Me and Joe were watching it. He got the ball stuck under his feet, and that was going to give them a chance to go get this thing to extra time. And it just didn't happen. Will PSG make it to the final? I don't know, but I think they are the biggest threat to Bayern, even though Bayern are miles ahead. But that would be a fantastic game. But that is all for us today. We will come up with some predictions for those UCL semifinals. We'll also do some talking of the Europa League, which is also at the same stage. But just stay tuned for more videos. We'll be back making 3 to 4 videos a week. But please like, subscribe, and just check us out for more videos in the future.